Earlier today, CDPR was at Unreal Fest 2025, where we got one of the first proper looks at the world of The Witcher 4. And simply put, this game looks insane. And to be abundantly clear on what you're seeing in the background, this is technically a tech demo. But it's a tech demo running at a near perfect 60 FPS on a base PlayStation 5 with ray tracing on. So it's kind of this weird hybrid. A ton of people are calling this gameplay, and no, that simply isn't true. What you're actually seeing is a specific area built out for this demo and made to look and run well. It's not just someone casually playing The Witcher 4, they made it look this way very specifically for this demo. But that definitely isn't the full picture. The fact that this demo isn't running on a super high-end PC, and instead just a base model PS5 with ray tracing on and staying at 60 FPS, which seems to be what CDPR is targeting for this game, does bode incredibly well for the release version of The Witcher 4. If a base PS5 can pull this off, it means it is a very realistic level of performance and detail for that final product. It's not like they're doing this all thanks to a 5090, they're doing it even on lower end hardware right now. Because, yeah, the final product with this one may end up looking absolutely amazing. The presentation opened with a new 2-minute cinematic trailer. During this, we see a merchant's cart get attacked by a manticore, which honestly is a pretty big reveal right off the bat. Manticores are mentioned all throughout The Witcher 3, but never appear in that game. But it does look like they will actually appear in The Witcher 4, and here that leads to an unfortunate fate for this cart's inhabitants, which does eventually lead to Ciri discovering the aftermath of this attack, and we get a really nice transition directly into the tech demo landscape. The cinematic trailer looking amazing, but not really revealing a ton outside of that manticore. I feel like there might be some secrets buried on this merchant's paper, but I'm having a hard time making anything out. And where things do really kick off is in this open world presentation. And there are a ton of things hidden within this. If you notice any nice details that I don't mention, please comment them down below. But also just some flat out reveals. The Witcher 4 is taking place in the region of Kovir, and will star Ciri along with her horse named Kelpie. But even in this initial scene, you could see a ton of upgrades. Not only is the major city of Lan Exeter visible in the distance, but so is the port town of Valdrest, and all throughout you can see a ton of detail in that distant foliage. If we look back at The Witcher 3, even with the next-gen upgrade, this is a giant difference. In The Witcher 4, you can see further with far more detail compared to its predecessor. And there is a reason for this. The past Witcher games, as well as Cyberpunk, were all made in Red Engine. Now CDPR isn't only switching to Unreal Engine 5, but is actually in a strategic partnership with Epic to make upgrades to Unreal Engine 5. That's how they're achieving this insane foliage density and detail. It really captures that real feeling of being lost in a forest with green all around you. And this is being done using nanite foliage. Nanite is a thing with Unreal Engine that basically helps you achieve some of these insane visuals and details that you can see. It lets you include a ton of detail in objects. Typically this would kill performance on most other engines, but with nanite you could render a lot of this detail up front. So, when it finally gets to you as the player, things look great, and your FPS should be relatively solid because it was rendered up front. And CDPR is now extending that technology to foliage. So with these trees, they're able to model every pine needle or even every leaf on a tree if they want to, but it's not going to come with an insane cost to performance, thanks to nanite. And part of this is a huge upgrade to how quickly the world can be loaded. Here, they're flying around no problem with everything keeping up around them. Again, this is on a base PS5. It's not like it's a super high-end PC. The seamless flyby extends to these super dense forests, and we're still getting 60 FPS on the PS5. I know for a lot of you, and even me, we're really just watching this because we're incredibly hyped for The Witcher 4, but something that I do think is important to remember is a lot of what's being shown here is a big deal even beyond just The Witcher 4. Part of the deal here is CDPR is working on Unreal Engine to improve it for all open world games. It's not like these upgrades are exclusive for CDPR. Let's say Bethesda decides, hey, we want to make Fallout 5 in Unreal, they'll be able to take advantage of these tech improvements. The first meet of Ciri and Kelpie also looks to be pretty close to how it might be in gameplay. We get the seamless transition from player control to a cutscene and then eventually back to player control. This was a desire first seen in some job listings for The Witcher and even Cyberpunk 2, describing a seamless blend from dialogue cutscenes to gameplay. So I have to imagine this game's going to feature a nice amount of these seamless transitions, and while yeah, it's a tech demo, this does closely match what we've seen in job listings already. As well as this horse Kelpie Kelpie looks absolutely amazing. It looks like something will finally surpass those Red Dead Redemption horses. Even just this initial gallop feels incredibly realistic and immersive. It's almost an unusual movement compared to the other gallops as well as some other games out there. And there actually is a reason for all of this. The horse's muscles are literally being considered under the horse's skin here, and multi-character motion matching is being used, so Ciri and Kelpie will perfectly match movements regardless of their location or current speed. All of this is meant to sync up perfectly so it'll look incredibly good in gameplay. But eventually with Ciri, we get to see what is perhaps the most immersive part of this demo, walking up to the port town of Valdrest, where Ciri has to return some type of contract.
Welcome to Valdrest. So Valdrest is a port town, a hub for fishing, trade and mining. It's one of those places where you can meet shady characters or overhear gossip from other lands. It's also where Ciri took on her current contract.
The degree of detail in this little town is pretty nuts. Even just in this initial scene, almost every single NPC is reacting to you, and most of them don't seem to like Ciri. This woman is warming herself at the fire, but turns around to look as we approach. The obvious dude spitting at our feet, and they even verbally say, "Not her again." And even this parent and child stop to look at Ciri, with the parent forcing their child to not stare. And as we continue on, you can see a large group of NPCs fully reacting to this phenomenal looking bear. You can see similar scenes in The Witcher 3, and there's just not nearly that degree of interaction. In The Witcher 3, the NPCs are just a lot flatter and replaying some of the same animations or not even actually looking in the right direction. In The Witcher 4, it seems like they're all actively engaged in what's going on. You can just tell there's a lot more detail and depth there. A lot of these are really cool details that just make this world feel far more alive, and there's even more coming up next. But this is the part of the demo that I would definitely be wary of. Stuff like this can be easily handcrafted and placed in a tech demo, but who knows how many of these reactions are going to apply to all of the towns or cities. It's going to take a lot more work to have this organically happening everywhere, while it's actually relatively trivial to have it just happening here. But something that should be reflective of the release build are some of these cloth physics we could see on this cape, and even the visual fidelity of this town overall. Like, to me, these are some of the most realistic cloth physics I've ever seen in a video game. Particularly as Ciri bumps into this other character, you can just see her cape is moving exactly how it should. As well as this entire interaction triggers something, both the child as well as these pigs immediately run over to grab some of the falling fruit. A CDPR verbally describes that chain events like this can occur in towns or other locations in The Witcher 4. I would definitely say that's another grain of salt quote though. Let's see how common these actually are in the release build. As well as something else to point out, well yeah, things look great visually. A huge part of this is how many custom and amazing animations are on display here. You have relatively predictable stuff like the tavern keeper throwing somebody out for cheating at Gwent, this couple getting all up close and intimate, to even this one-legged person hobbling around on a crutch. Things just look incredibly realistic, like a ton of time was spent getting these animations correct. Later, they do provide more of a focus on what is portrayed as just a casual town interaction that is seemingly going to be common in The Witcher 4.
Hey! And catch this is, we'll find none fresher.
Reckon me lady's after one of
Course. Get this cleaned and gutted for you. You mind, dearest? Into seeing something more. Got mackerel cod, all Braxton's finest.
The devs describe how they want the gap in quality between Ciri as well as these other NPCs to be as small as possible, and at least as of right now, that definitely seems to be the case. A lot of these random NPCs look absolutely phenomenal. It feels like a ton is happening all around you in The Witcher 4, and based off this demo, it genuinely feels like these towns are a lot more alive, and even CDPR says they want this to be the most immersive open world game ever. And we do eventually get another seamless transition to a cutscene from this all, but a huge part of what is enabling CDPR to have this much going on is just a lot more NPCs. Most video game locations are woefully underpopulated compared to their real-life counterparts, and CDPR is making strides with Unreal to help fix that. Here, they describe having 300 animated flesh agents working at 60 FPS on a PS5. That is a dramatic improvement over what they were able to pull off in The Witcher 3. Even with the next-gen update. This in particular feels like it'll be a huge step forward for other open world games, assuming they could truly have it running this smoothly. If you could have towns with this many NPCs doing things around you, it's just going to feel more immersive and realistic. And CDPR is after exactly that. During this tech demo, they describe how they want the upgrades they're making to Unreal Engine to help define the next generation of open world RPGs. And I would just say overall, I was blown away by this one. This felt like the first proper look at the next generation of The Witcher and potentially even gaming overall. But it is important to remember that this isn't actually gameplay. This is a curated tech demo of a game that is likely 2 years away still. Most of what was shown off earlier today looked amazing, and I think this is a very good sign for this game, but it's also important to remember to wait for that final build and not get overhyped off a tech demo, particularly when it comes to the CD Projekt Red release immediately after Cyberpunk 2077.